Hey guys, and welcome back to Professor Layton and the Curious Village. As the title card says there, it's finally time to begin the hunt for the Golden Apple. You know, the whole reason we came to St. Mystere, but I feel a bit of a recap is in order. We've been bopping about this village, and we've seen a few curious events, so to speak. You know, there was the death of Simon Reinhold, pretty much right under our noses. These mysterious cogs that keep appearing. Ramon went missing, apparently kidnapped by some shadowy guy, but he turned back up at the manor with no memory of any of this happening, and he was right as rain. So, again, as the title would say, this is a very curious village, so I'm eager to see what's going to happen.
Puzzles. Puzzles are going to happen.
Thank you, Richie.
Well, I certainly hope so, because if it's a curious village full of puzzles, at least we got our money's worth, right?
Very true.
But yeah, this is the part of the game where Layton, you know, he pulls up his britches and says, we're going to do some proper detective work. Now, this is the whole reason we came to St. Mystere in the first place, because of this woman here. She's like, find the golden apple and whatnot. I really want it. I'm not rich enough.
She really does just abuse poor Matthew. He's just doing his business, and then she's just like, get it, you're not doing enough work.
I'm actually 20 years old and I had a full head of hair when I started this job. Okay, we have an objective. Go find Ingrid.
Mm-hmm. And Ingrid's actually one of the first people that we met in St. Mystere. She's that elderly lady with the white hair.
Well, that's a bit rude, don't you think? Calling her an old girl, at least not to her face, I hope.
No, Layton would never call somebody that to their face unless they were a horrible person.
Yeah, he's only mildly brusque with the people he dislikes.
Although, let's be honest, Adria deserves a lot more than just being mildly brusque.
Considering how rude she is, yes, she deserves everything she gets.
Oh, I thought you were saying Ingrid there, and I was like, this is a sweet old woman. Why are you being so unkind to her?
No, Adria.
I do like, because of the different stature of people, they have to drag Ingrid up just so she's kind of on an even level, but when the text box goes away, she's just, floating in the air.
Yeah, when this cutscene is over, there's going to be a new mystery added. Ingrid's levitation powers.
It's like at the end of the conversation, she just drops back down.
I mean, considering the Layton universe, it would not surprise me if they had levitating shoes.
1, 2, 3, 4. Did you miss me, Montedor? Yes, I'm still playing Miracle Mask.
Miracle Mask.
Yeah.
Easily my least favourite of the series. I mean, I don't know whether we've covered this, but how would you guys rank them? I know we've kind of roughly discussed our thoughts on the games in general, but I don't think we've ranked them in commentary yet.
Helldragon, you haven't actually played them, so do you mind if I go first?
Go ahead. Well, I have some I've watched, so I'm practically an expert.
Well, after I'm done and Richie's done, we'll move on to the ranked in terms of just watching the things kind of stuff. Number 1, Diabolical Box. This is from Best to Worst. Diabolical Box, Curious Village, Spectre's Call, which I found myself enjoying quite a bit. Then, probably Unwound Future, then Miracle Mask. Haven't played Azran Legacy. I'm not sure where I'd put Ace Attorney. It would probably be either second or third, actually.
So, for me, it's Lost Future comes first, although that is pretty much entirely for the plot.
Okay.
It's the one that I had the strongest emotional reaction to. The Layton games do a very good job at playing with your emotions.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Miracle Mask is the only one that I haven't sort of cried at in some form. So, yeah, Lost Future comes first. Then it'd probably be Azran Legacy.
There's that thing we were talking about, by the way, that little sprite of Matthew walking back and forth.
It's so weird. Then it would probably be Layton versus Ace Attorney, then Diabolical Box.
I didn't include Layton vs Ace Attorney on my list because it's not a proper Layton game. I mean, it's made by Level 5, but it's not just Professor Layton and the...
Yeah, so, I mean, it's up there. Then it'd be Curious Village, then it would be Spectre's Call, and then it would be Miracle Mask.
Okay.
Basically, I really don't like Miracle Mask.
Fair dues. Oh, it's time to get poignant.
Definitely.
Oh, I'm sorry, Helldragon, I nearly forgot about you. Just in terms of watching them.
Alright, sure. Just to finally get around to getting my opinion, cherished as it may be. I really do have to put Curious Village at the top because I really do like the atmosphere. The plot was pretty interesting to me. After that, I'd have to say The Last Spectre. In terms of, all the ultimate build-up and how the mystery is built and what they do at the end. I really enjoyed that. After that is Diabolical Box. I didn't hate that game, obviously, in terms of the plot, but it's just not as good for me as the other two. Other than that, I'm still waiting for you to do Unwound Future so I can finally watch that through.
Keep waiting, mate, keep waiting. Go look for, Z Slicer, or, someone along those lines.
Yeah, that's what I'll probably do.
Or you could watch the one that I did many, many years ago, because I actually did the first 3 Layton games solo in 2011.
Oh, is that right?
Pluggity plug.
Yeah, the audio editing is abysmal, but it's there.
Well,
so.
It's HFC. This is par for the course, really. Didn't get a chance to comment on it back there since we were having list wars. Beautiful scene, very poignant, understated music. 9 out of 10 IGN.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really, actually, jarring change of pace because you have this quaint little, almost countryside village town, and then you go to this really pristine grave. And when you think of grave, you usually just think of a gravestone, not kind of like an underground cavern.
Well, I mean, it's a tomb, essentially. I mean, it's a bit more beautiful than a tomb, but that is basically what it is.
brushing up on our
Reinhold lore here.
Yeah, you gotta look in the codex for that kind of thing, because the game doesn't explain it to you up front. Yes, my sweet Viola, who was a robot apparently because of the craftsmanship. So at HFC, around this point, I sort of got bored and I just decided to dictate the plot to you. Wow, this letter has gone on really long, I realize. I'm sorry about that ahead of time, by the way.
Alright, Luke's telling us all this, okay.
do you think he tells the story in, like, installments throughout multiple letters? That would actually be kind of interesting to kind of have a pen pal just regale you with this very interesting, epic, sweeping story over, like, a series of letters.
And Augustus took ill. And it's not a spoiler to say he died. That's the reason we're in the village to begin with.
Plot twist, he's still alive. He's just something else, I don't know.
It was just a bad case of gas.
It's okay, I just took some gas X, yay.
I just love how we're pissing over the loveliness of this particular scene.
Yes, it's really touching, and kind of when you first come across it, you kind of just start going, there's a really serious story here amidst kind of the light-hearted puzzles that's going on. This is actually something very deep, I suppose you could say.
Yeah, don't let the goofy character designs fool you. Well, some characters are more goofy looking than others, but yeah, don't let that fool you. It is very, I guess I'll say poignant. Going for a poignant quoted today.
I mean, I guess sort of that is the reason why it's very easy to get emotionally invested in the Layton games. They do a very good job of presenting a narrative that you can get attached to, and characters that you can get attached to. And so, because of all of that, you can get to the point where you want to cry at the end.
I never really got to a point, I admit, where I sort of want to cry at the end of a video game. I think the closest I've ever gotten was at the end of Okami.
Oh.
But that moment was just fucking amazing. I'm just sitting there going, just really feeling along with everything they had gone through up until that point. As soon as getting everyone together, I'm just like, let's fucking do it, Yami. I'm fucking charged up, ready to go here. I'm ready to save the fucking world.
Yeah, there are some absolutely stunning moments in video games that can do that. That moment in Okami is one of them. And, there are certain games which you wouldn't think can do it. I mean, the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games, for example, you think, it's a Pokemon spin-off. But no, they're really, really good at getting you pumped and emotionally invested.
Yeah, and recently we've also seen that in recent stuff like the current indie favorite Undertale. I've heard a lot of, feedback about that, about how emotional it gets, definitely. And having checked out a bit of it myself, I can definitely see why.
My personal favourite comes in DMC Devil May Cry, where Dante says "fuck you" to the thing, and the other thing says "fuck you" back, because anger is an emotion as well, you know.
I have a question, really quick. Do you think that's the equivalent of, like, Bane posting? Like, that scene that's so bad, but everybody quotes it, like, all the time. It's either that or the, Symphony of the Night, die monster, you don't belong in this world kind of scene.
Of course. Gotta go meet with Luigi.
Well, of course. It wouldn't be on a Nintendo console otherwise.
What's so weird is that we did not meet Luigi at the manor. Because he's gotta have a mansion in some way.
Wah, 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 wah.
Look, just as long as it's not the mansion from 5 Days a Stranger, I think I'm okay.
That house had like 5 rooms, mate. Most of them were locked.
And most of them were fucking possessed by a killer ghost. No thank you.
Okay.
Well, yeah, but the majority of, both of the Luigi's Mansion games are possessed by ghosts that are still trying to kill you. They don't exactly necessarily do what the Ghost in Stranger does, but still.
Puzzle 64!
There we go, alright.
And it includes fucking maths. I can't have anything nice in this world.
Yeah, they pretty much designed it from the get-go to make sure you'd have a bitch of a time solving it.
The answer is 1.
Well, yes, because it works on clocks.
Explain this shit.
So basically, it's running on 8 o'clock, or 8 hours minus 6 hours is... Well, 8 minus 6 is 2 o'clock. That's basically what it's running on. It's running on time.
It's running on bullshit time, yeah. I love how Ronnie tells you, thank you for solving the puzzle, now fuck off.
Well, he's an elected official.
I don't give a shit. He could be a little bit nicer about it.
I guess. That cat and that mouse are still here.
And I think they have another puzzle for us, actually.
Talk about playing a game of cat and mouse. Yeah, okay.
Why don't you just ask them, Luke? Are you running a puzzle racket? Is that what's going on here?
Yeah, you're good with animals, Luke. Why don't you give them, an interview, see what's going up?
Well, I'm sorry, Professor, but I can't wrangle the most dangerous animal of all. Man.
Da-da-da!
Da-da.
I wonder whether, at the point when they were making Curious Village, whether they'd fully figured out where they wanted to go with Luke's affinity with animals, because obviously you get to the sequels, and he can actually physically talk to them, and they talk back.
Huh?
But they haven't really got there in this game, because he talks to the animals, but they don't really respond.
So Luke is just pathetic in this one.
Well, a lot of stuff they got right, but Curious Village was obviously like a prototype kind of thing. Finished prototype, but a prototype nonetheless, where they were just, testing the waters, so to speak. That's why, I think you mentioned this in the previous part, Richie, Layton actually comments on, the curious nature of everyone having puzzles, waiting for him.
Yeah, definitely that.
Well, why don't you up your game, Luke?
I'm not paying you to tag along to give me insufficient puzzles.
I don't think they pay Luke at all. He gets room and board, I assume, is the payment.
Well, you got room and board eventually.
Yeah, eventually, when Layton wins enough fucking puzzle pieces for his room, yeah.
Alright, I'm watching. This better be tricky.
Okay, everybody doesn't have a face, and I'm really disconcerted by this.
This actually reminds me of a bingo advert. I can't remember what place it was for, but there was an advert of people running around with bingo balls for heads, and it was terrifying.
Yeah, it's like an advertisement for the lottery. This could happen to you. Pick the Powerball.
The answer is D.
Mm-hmm.
I like to think he just goes, that one, and points at it. I do like puzzles like this, though, where it's they give you a set of clues and you have to figure it out, with logic. I like to do, if you've ever solved those, grid puzzles, where you're, marking off what's true and what's not, and you have to use your clues to eliminate the other possibilities. I really enjoy those kind of logic puzzles, personally.
They're skating the line of what is a riddle and what is a puzzle, really.
Well, it doesn't really matter, does it?
Yeah, it really doesn't. And I've actually got up the Wikipedia article for puzzles because obviously that's always fun. And there are... You'd be surprised like how many puzzles there are in the world. And what's also quite fun is that there are actually a couple of really famous puzzles within the Layton series. And I mean, one of them we are going to come across later on, which is the 8 Queens puzzle, which is a chess problem. Another example of that is the Knight's Tour, which is going around the entire board with the Knight. I think in actually one of the later Layton games, they do a Knight's Tour puzzle. But, I mean, you also got, obviously, jigsaw puzzles, lateral thinking puzzles, maths puzzles, mechanical puzzles, so that'd be like a Rubik's Cube, meta puzzles, paper and pencil puzzles, peg solitaire, puzzle box, which is very important to Pandora's box.
Oh, so if you open it, all of the puzzles in the world spill out? So that's how everybody got puzzles.
Yep, that. You also have Sangaku, which is a Japanese temple tablet with...
Thought you were going to say Zangi for a second, though.
Me too, yeah. I was like, Zangi, well, he is a puzzling kind of man.
Solves everything with suplexes.
You also have sliding puzzles.
Of course.
You have Sokoban, which is a type of transport puzzle. So those are sort of the... So when we did the get the car out with the Layton mobile,
Okay.
that was essentially a Sokoban puzzle.
I was thinking of the wolf and the chick across the river kind of thing.
Don't think that one quite works, but it could do. You have Spot the Difference. You have Tangram, which are ones where you've got a bunch of blocks and you have to fit them into a particular shape. I'm pretty sure Lost Future has a few of those. And then you've got word puzzles, so like anagrams, ciphers, crosswords, word searches, and so on.
So, app developers, I hope you're taking notes on apps you can start making.
Well, if you want a word puzzle, that I guess is also kind of a riddle. Or, well, I'm reading it here, it definitely is a riddle. It's from a certain King's Quest game, I won't say why. But do you want to hear it? Do you want to try and solve it?
Okay.
Fire away, sure.
Right, listen carefully, for I shall only say this once, and then once again when you request it. My first is foremost legally. My second circles outwardly. My third leads all in victory. My fourth twice ends a nominee. My whole is this gate's only key. What am I?
A key.
That's your answer?
It's probably not a very good answer, but I would have to write it down and sort of analyze it.
I would have to also write it down. Part of me wants to go, it's a sword, but it's probably definitely not.
The answer is love.
Oh, no.
Oh.
My first is foremost legally, L. My second circles outwardly, O. My third leads all in victory, V. My fourth twice ends a nominee, and obviously there's 2 E's at the end of nominee.
Yeah.
I thought it was one of those puzzles where it's like, my hole's the gate's key. I thought they were just trying to trick you there. Huh.
I've got a riddle for you all. What have I got in my pocket?
String or nothing.
Is it happy to see me? This is very important.
You got it with nothing. I was about to say, aha, no, but no, I have actually got nothing in my pockets at the minute.
I don't have a riddle. I'm just here making fun of these other riddles.
This is very important right here. Pay attention to what Luke is saying. They've been finding excerpts from this guy, and he seems he kind of like makes models for a living. Obviously, we have a model dog here, Flame. Very, very loyal. Helps us find hidden hint coins and hidden puzzles and the like.
And also, I mean, very useful, because there are certain times where, like, I was about to say, right, you need to go to this particular bit, and then Flame just points it out for us, and it's just like, oh, thank you, Flame.
Yeah.
That said, he did screw us over at one point during recording in one of the penultimate chapters. That wasn't fun.
You have to bring it up when we get there, because I honestly can't remember what you're talking about.
I'm sure you will have flashbacks when we get there.
I look forward to revisiting Vietnam. Okay, so the people who've been disappearing, kidnapped, if you will, by that shady, almost mechanic-looking guy, all report feeling like tired, run down, or sick beforehand.
It's the coffee industry, I knew it.
Taken away, injected with caffeine, reintroduced to society.
Well, I mean, that's almost like the plot of quite a lot of things in some form. I mean, if you think about the Maze Runner series, that's got isolate people so that you can get a cure, and then it's...
You're not selling me on this series, Richard.
Well, there was a movie about it, and I'm pretty sure that won't sell you even less.
The movie's actually alright. I watched it the other day. It was quite fun. Got a sequel that's out, I think.
That's the only way you're going to describe it, is out.
They sure made it. It was a thing they made.
It's one of those young adult dystopian films that have become all the rage recently.
Ah, young adult. Isn't that how they're describing the new Doctor Who spin-off?
Yes, I think so.
That class thing, which nobody asked for.
I'm alright with it. Patrick Ness is an amazing writer, so I will have faith in him.
I'm waiting for the young adult dystopian spin-off, where it's the apocalypse and they have kung fu powers, because personally I could go for some of that right now.
Now, what Layton said back there is a very good point. What kind of serial kidnapper releases his victims later on?
They're too small? Throw them back into the water?
I don't know, Ramon seemed very size appropriate for the sack the guy was carrying.
No, that's true, but he was very thin. I don't know. Of course it's about food.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's, is it Prosciutto? Is that his name?
Yes, Prosciutto.
Keep it relevant, I guess.
I mean, pretty much all of his puzzles are to do with food.
I'm cool with that. I like themes.
I mean, there's a character, basically one of the last characters that we'll meet in the game, and her entire gimmick is card puzzles.
Speaking of gimmicks, some are better than others in the Layton series when it comes to NPCs. There's one, again in Miracle Mask, who has like a speech impediment and it's played as a joke.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about, Richard?
I can't remember the precise name of the character, but I do seem to recall that incident, and I was just like...
Well, she calls the villain the masked Dandel Man. I'm like, is this meant to be a joke? Should I be laughing at this?
Yeah, the Layton series does sometimes stick its foot in it when it comes to its stereotyped characters.
I'm glad they gave the world map to Luke, so he knows which Pokemon Center to go to next.
Here, Luke, you may see far-off distant lands, but you will never visit them.
Yeah, this is like the only kind of outing Luke ever gets, Luke, come with me to some abandoned creepy village where people are getting kidnapped and we don't know what's going on. And after that, maybe you might get a lollipop when we're finished.
No, I mean, Luke does get to travel. I mean, Azran Legacy is a prime example of that. For some bizarre reason, Luke's father's just like, yes, you can take my boy out of the country all over the world for no reason at all.
Prequel trilogy was kind of weird. I was actually thinking to myself, this vase is very important, by the way. Pay attention to this while we ramble on. And those legs in the background, they're very important.
They are quite hot, yes.
Oh, look at them shoes. What are those, etc. And I totally deserved the silence that followed that meme. But yeah, the prequel trilogy, I was thinking to myself, I think it would have been better served if the first game, instead of Spectre's Call, was just entirely about the flashback portions of Miracle Mask. Like, it took place in that time period, and then at the end, maybe Layton decided to get into archaeology, then, like, the second game replacing Miracle Mask would be, like, him becoming a professor and such, and then the third game that would lead into Curious Village would be what Spectre's Call was.
I will disagree with you on that one, if only because I think that the way that they construct the overarching narrative through Miracle Mask and into Azran Legacy, and including Eternal Diva, because Eternal Diva is actually canon within the game series narrative.
I guess, but
that works better.
That's a problem with the prequel trilogy, in that it tries to tell an overall story, whereas, like, Curious Village, Diabolical Box, Unwound Future, apart from having, like, characters that appear in, like, all the games, they don't really have a narrative that requires you to have played the other games.
Yeah, I suppose so, but I think that by that point in the series, they had gotten their fan base, so they weren't necessarily targeting a brand new audience, so they were able to trust in the fact that people would continue to buy the games and therefore would have played them.
Ah. Well, these are just my ideas. They're not good, but they are mine.
You're just trying to sell me your sausage, man. Nobody is interested.
He's a butcher. He is a butcher.
Well, that's what I meant. You can be a butcher of bad sausage, it's possible. Okay, now he's just trying to mess with me with that pun right there. I'm sorry. I think we're done. We're done, Luke. Fuck it. We're going home. What about the golden apple? What about the fucking golden apple? We're finished.
What about the crank that will lower the bridge? You can jump. Make use of them legs.
I have you lift boxes all the time for a reason.
I think we need to get to the core of this mystery.
Oh, Richie, why? I want to go after that very conspicuous bit of paper on the ground.
Well, let's be honest, Tom. His tendency to make these bad jokes about apples stems from you.
I planted the seed, and others took what grew from it.
We're all just terrible people, I think. We came here to dance.
Nothing more insulting than telling someone when you're, like, in their shop, I didn't come here to shop.
I always feel so bad when I'm, like, browsing, and I don't see anything I like. Like, one time I was, like, when I was way younger, I was in, like, this novelty shop, and I kept browsing around. But the thing is that, like, they had somebody at the counter, and then they had, like, their wife sitting out in front watching this horror movie up on the TV, and I'm just sitting there like, that's so awkward as fuck, and I have no idea on how to break out. So I'm petering around in there for like 15, 20 minutes trying to figure out the best way to actually leave the shop without buying anything, because I was just a terrible person back then.
Wow, that really does sound like a Layton puzzle.
Another puzzle solved.
Basically, the trick to this one is don't pick the fat guy.
No, the trick to this one is testing the sentences against each other to see whether they disprove other ones. So, if you kind of go through it with a fine-tooth comb, you'll eventually realise that C's the only one that could have eaten the sausages.
Only I can appreciate magnolias.
Yeah, it would really help if you actually had some too.
Finally, I was having anxiety attacks. It was like on the floor, we weren't picking it up.
I think the reason that we avoided it was partly because obviously that's what the guide was telling us to do, but also because I think my brain was going, do we instigate new plot after picking this up? Let's just make sure that we get everything around it first.
Yeah, there's nothing worse when you're recording video game playthroughs than clicking on the thing that will trigger the next part of the plot and lock you out of stuff that you were looking for.
And that is what the flashback that you're going to have is going to relate to.
Back off, man, I got this. I am a detective.
Charming and happy at times.
Hold on. Huh.
Is something bugging you?
Just a hunch.
Okay.
I do love that Xiaomi has a really loving wife, and what's really awesome is that Xiaomi does turn up basically throughout the series, even in the prequel trilogy, although he has a much lesser role in the prequel trilogy. But he and his wife do turn up in Asran Legacy. I think it's just after they get married, because they're on honeymoon.
Bring it on! I can take you.
I got puzzles for days, son.
I thought you heard something else. Okay, we're fine. He's like holding an invisible stogie, I think. Although that would be a pretty big one.
I'm holding the concept of the golden apple.
Well, no, because he's got sort of his other hand is kind of in a similar grasping position, so he's kind of holding an imaginary baguette.
Why? That doesn't even make sense.
It's the marketplace and it's a curious village, get over it.
Yeah, that's pretty much the answer for everything. Curious Village, fucking deal with it.
Wow, this is Mad Libs the series, I do apologise. We pay more attention to the story, but it is being told in bits and pieces.
Well, I mean, also, it just plods along for ages until pretty much the last chapters, and then it just explodes. But there is kind of semi-important plot that's going on right now, because Archibald is going to basically reveal some stuff to us.
Everything you need to know about the plot, we're telling you. Like, if not when it happens, slightly after, and keeping you up to speed and whatnot. We just decided to cut loose and kind of have fun with this, because we haven't really done this type of game before, at least not much, so it was either be super serious, take everything, like, you know, prim and proper, and, like, it would just become very old very fast, or just have a few moments here and there of, like, irreverent, off-topic commentary, just to help to spice things up. That was the mission statement for Professor Layton and the Curious Village HFC variant.
Yeah, he wrote this out ahead of time, we had to get it approved, it was very embarrassing, let's be honest.
Shouldn't gentlemen take off their hats when they go indoors?
You don't want to see what's underneath that.
Well, gentlemen should take off their hats when they go indoors, but then again, gentlemen should also keep their promises. So, Layton's kind of stuck between a rock and a top hat.
Well, just step over the top hat. There's no problem here.
Easiest puzzle ever.
There you go. Another puzzle solved.
Thank you.
Look, Professor, there's a hidden puzzle. No, those are just my old cigars. No, there's no puzzle. Trust me. I've just been lazy.
They smell weird, Professor.
No, that's not really... Just come over here, Luke. It's fine.
Which one is it, Helldragon?
I don't know. You just asked me this out of nowhere. It's C. How about that?
Fuck you! You said that after the tick happened.
Well, you just suddenly accost me with puzzles. Sometimes I'm solving them, sometimes I ain't solving them. What do you want me to do?
Maybe I should just ask Richie, because as we discussed earlier in the playthrough, the dynamic is Richie is Layton, I'm Luke, and you're the save function inside the trunk.
Okay, you really didn't even try that hard to think of an option for me. I could be other things and just the arbitrary save function. Maybe I'm the little logo at the bottom right of the screen. Have you considered that? Okay, well, no, that would be Cardo, I guess. Huh.
I thought you meant the shoe for a second.
It's like Cardo is here with us. Don't you feel it?
Well, I mean, Flame is also here with us, because, I mean, look, he's right there.
God, it's like the entire fucking HFC community here. You're all giving us our strength in order to do these commentaries. It's like a spirit bomb.
It's a super forecast playthrough.
Oh yeah, he got money in his desk. Good idea.
Well, he's not using it anymore.
No, that's true.
Can't take it with you.
Here's something that sort of I do find rather amusing. So, whenever I think any of us have recorded a Layton game, there's always the thing of pick up all the hint coins but never use them. Because the thing is that when you go into the trunk, on the top screen you'll get a little icon next to your hint coin, depending on how many you've picked up. And I think basically the game ranks you on how many hint coins you've found. And you kind of just like, I just want to make sure that I have that full 200 out of 200 come the end.
Yeah, the icon is pretty nice.
Oh, it's wonderful.
It's going to be a very short intermission period between this chapter and the next one.
I think it is, yeah. I mean, if I recall correctly, it may just go straight into it, actually. This game is very kind of lopsided in how it deals with chapters, and they did really streamline things in later games because you just go from chapter to chapter, there's no interludes.
So Archibald lived inside that green door all this time? Or the house with the green door, I should say.
I think we went a little bit too far.
Think we can make this jump, Luke?
Now this is another thing that it's slightly dodgy more so in Curious Village, is that areas that you've already been to will sometimes have new hint coins depending on where you are in the game. So you've always got to be on the lookout even if you've already scoured that place top to bottom.
When I was recording the game originally a few years ago, I missed one hint coin!
Don't worry, I did too.
I'm sorry, I'm a little bit busy. I understand, you're giving us free rent, but I kind of have like 5 other side quests going on.
You're the one who runs the inn, not me. If you're having problems with a tenant, evict them.
Well, he evicted himself, technically.
Filthy.
Mm-hmm. Very ungentlemanly, I have to say.
I just love the random croissant in the bag.
He didn't even touch that. He's like, oh no, no.
What a brute.
And also there's the bottle of alcohol on the table.
Talk about being subtle.
That's not nice, Luke.
Luke, just look at the top screen, boy.
Yeah, seriously. It's not a very gentlemanly thing to stereotype people. Gumshoe wears a trench coat and he's the antithesis of evil.
Dante wears a trench coat and he's, if you deal with the right version of the series, he's an absolute badass.
But if you deal with the wrong one, you've gone on the dull side of town.
That's how I feel sometimes in this game. When is the game going to start?
The fun never starts.
I'm so preoccupied by that space in the tower in the distance.
It could be another monster, watch out.
I still do question how the hell that thing is standing. I mean, when we get closer up, it's just like, how does this work?
Maybe the golden apples help keeping it balanced. You know, it's a similar principle to putting a book under a coffee table.
Yeah, that's just precariously balanced on one book.
Okay, we finally have an objective that sets fire alight in my heart once more. We'll see you all next time, where we go investigate the creepy tower. Bye for now.